All right, welcome to this episode of Actors 2020 podcast. Today's guest star is Eric Moseley. He used to be homeless, and his tagline is, "I was once so low that I had to dig my way up just to get to hell." Wow. Well, let's give him a call, and let's see what he has to offer you.
Hello.
Hello, Eric. How are you?
Hey, Johnny. How's it going, man?
I've done a little research about you, and I just told people famous tagline, which I was once so low that I had to dig my way up just to get to hell.
Right. And so what that meant was, well, it's self-explanatory, but it's like, I was even lower than the people that were in hell.
Wow. So are you an actor at all? I've seen a little bit on your page. Can you tell me about what you've done?
Oh, well, that's just something I'm just getting off into right now. I try to take what I did with the documentaries and then try to, take it to a different level. But I just did like a couple of little sizzle reels. One was like for Warner Brothers. And then I did a couple of music videos. And, I'm just doing small stuff. I'm just paying my dues. I'm not trying to do this for fame. I'm doing this to make a change. So that's my biggest thing is, doing the documentaries. The acting thing, it's like a hobby, but I do want to take it to another level.
Well, this is a good way to start. A lot of people, sometimes people start from behind the camera and they move in front of the camera.
Right. And that's where I'm at right now.
So you're actually someone who could actually give an actor a job.
Actually, yes, I could actually give somebody that's once I'm coming out with these movies, yes, we're going to be needing actors and actresses.
What do you film on? What type of equipment do you use?
Actually, right now, my homeboy's got a red camera, and then he's pretty good with it, and he just put together first a low-budget movie and then take it to the big screen.
Your main focus is helping the homeless?
Yes, my biggest thing is being an advocate for the homeless and then educating people about the homeless as well.
You yourself were homeless at one time?
Oh, shoot, more than one time. I've been homeless like probably altogether something like 20 years altogether, probably 10 years with a child and then probably 10 years by myself.
Currently, you have a place to stay now?
Yes, I am. Actually, I'm living in like one of the most sought after neighborhoods in Los Angeles right now. I went from homeless to living in a real decent neighborhood here.
That's awesome. And what is that like on the streets at night?
Well, being homeless on the streets at night, it depends on, there's three different classes of homeless. There's upper, and there's middle, and there's lower class. The lower class homeless individual is the one who sleeps out on the street and pushes a buggy and things of that nature. The upper class homeless is one who stays in the shelter or maybe couch surfing, trying to find his way or living with girlfriends here and there. And the middle class is the one that's in between. So the lower class homeless, which I have been in all classes. So the lower class being out there, you just have to have somebody that's watching your back all the time. You just got to be, trying to stay safe. And you got to just, number one, is mind your own business while you're out there on the streets to survive. Yeah, I got some terrible stories. Actually, there's one in my book that was real devastating because, I was like homeless with my daughter at one time. So like a lot of people say they wonder why I talk about this situation. But one time I was in my addiction and I almost overdosed in front of my daughter in Seattle. Could you imagine that? Your daughter standing there and watching you almost die off of drugs, and you're in the bathtub trying to run cold water over your body so that you could come back, not even knowing where you're going to probably be living like the next week after that. So I've had some dark stories.
But look at you now. So I'm actually on your Amazon page right now, and it says Eric Protein Moseley. It's From the Ground Up, the name of your book.
And that book is to educate about the powers of the Almighty through one man's journey of trials and tribulation. And what it does, it takes you all the way back from when I was born to me growing up, being in junior high school, and then, dropping out and getting on drugs and getting in gangs and picking up gambling addictions and just doing all these bad negative things before I even became a single parent and a crackhead and things of that nature. And before I turned my life around and became a homeless advocate with a documentary that aired all the way around the country. You know what I'm saying? So I went from the ground, literally sleeping on the ground, to with the position that I'm in right now. I'm not in a position I want to be at, but I'm not in a position that I used to be.
Right. We always want to do better. So how did you get that book actually written and formatted and up on Amazon?
Man, you know what? It took a lot of hard work. That's a good question. It took a lot of hard work. Like when I was homeless, I was in the shelters, and while everybody else was just getting out in the morning in the shelters, and I was in New York, and they would, you would have to leave in the morning. So when I get up in the morning, I would leave. I had a quota that I was going to do 500 words of the book every day. So I would do those 500 words. And then when I would come back to the shelter at night, I felt like I had done something, even though that it wasn't going to be in publication right then. I felt that I had done something. And so then I just kept writing and writing, and then I just learned how to put it together and get it on Amazon. And then from there, I mean, it was just it. I just learned. I just took the time out to learn it and just got it published. It's a very interesting book for anybody that has someone that has struggled with drugs or struggling with depression or any type of thing, and they want to know how to deal with those obstacles. That book, Eric Protein Mosley From the Ground Up, is a book that they need to read.
You wrote just with a pen and a piece of paper into a journal to write everything out?
Actually, I didn't. Actually, what I did, I just typed. I had like a little computer, and I would go sit at the library. And it's I would sit in the library of the same library that I used to pass by to go buy drugs many years ago. So yeah,
oh, wow.
So I'm sitting up in there, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm looking like right across the street where I used to buy drugs. So I'm typing out 500 words a day, and I would just keep it, and I would save it. On my email, I would save them. But here's the thing. So when I wrote the book, it was kind of like slang, and I edited it to my best ability, right? So then when I got into a position where I'm like, hey, look, I could go back in that book and re-edit it the way it needs to be edited. And I said, no, I'm going to leave it just like that because it's only for a selective group of people to read it. If they want to read something that's got all the I's and all the T's crossed and things like that, they need to go read Mary Poppins. But if you want to read something that's going to deliver you from drugs, alcohol, depression, whatever, Eric Protein Mosley From the Ground Up is the book.
That's pretty good. So you would go to the library because they had internet access there, correct?
Yep, they had internet access, and I could do my research, and I learned how to get to Amazon, what do they call KDP, thing like that, and how to set it up with the PayPal and all that. Yes, I learned all of that.
Wow.
Actually, I have 4 other books on there as well, but this book here was like my prized possession.
Really? Yeah. So you have 4 books on there. Oh, I actually just saw this one book, so you have others as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do have other books, but I'm not really even promoting those right now. I'm those are just out there on the web, kind of because I'm saying, they have meaning to it, but I'm really trying to just promote this one right now and then let the other ones pick up, later on, because that's my passion.
Right. Yeah, you can't do everything at once. You got to focus on something and just do that.
That's funny you brought that up because I tell people that a lot of people come out here from other cities, and I say, hey, look, just get one thing going, and then once you get that going, and then you can get other things going. Like Tyler Perry said this thing, if you water all these different plants, you don't have enough water to water the main plant. Just work that one thing and let that develop other things. That doesn't mean stay in a bubble, but let that one thing develop until where you can start letting it branch off. But you can't branch off and the root is still down in the ground and you're trying to grow branches already. That's how I look at it as.
Wow, I love that. That's awesome. So I saw you were interviewed. It looked like you were at a bar somewhere.
Oh, that was the High Bar with Warren Ettress. That was a show that I did with him up in Seattle because I had a documentary called Down But Not Out. It aired on the PBS channel all in the whole state of Washington, and I was in a couple of newspapers there. So I kind of had I had a little local fame up there. So he did a interview on me, and I was just explaining to him kind of basically what I was just explaining to you about the 3 classes of homelessness, and I was just educating them how, what I'm doing right now.
And it looks very professional. The lighting looks amazing. I watched a little bit of it. It's really nice.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And I went to your Facebook page. I like your profile picture. You're sitting there in that orange shirt and some ladies putting a makeup on you.
Okay, that picture there, yeah, we were up in Burbank, California, and we were doing a sizzle reel for Warner Brothers. It's called I don't know if I should be giving this name out, but it probably might help. It's called The Winner's Circle, and they were pitching it around. It was a professionally done sizzle reel. Did a lot of good for me. I got paid for it pretty well, and I put my whole energy in it. So most definitely it's going somewhere, right?
Only way to go is up.
I like that.
I think this is a platform not to promote me, but to promote other people and raise them up and give them an opportunity to pitch themselves.
Right, and that's good. I'm glad that you've given me that platform and everybody else. And I did read about the radio show that you had in Hollywood and things like that, and I think that was pretty impressive.
It was a lot of fun. You started out homeless and a little bit of addiction. Then you moved on and you started helping other people. Where do you want to be, say, in 2 or 3 years from now?
Okay, well, let me just clarify one thing. Number one, it wasn't a little addiction. This sucker was a monster, Johnny. It was
wow.
The sucker was a monster.
Okay.
But in 3 years, where would I want to be I would like to be like somewhere known in Washington, D.C. for making a change on homelessness. I would like to have my movie out, which is called Captain Negro. Now, listen to this, Johnny. This guy is the first superhero from the streets of South Central, and his name is Captain Negro. And what happened was he was a pimp and stuff back in the days, and he got in a coma, and his nephew came and gave him a solution called Negro Up a Notch, and he became this superhero man that nobody's going to be ready for, I'm telling you. And then other than that, I would just like to be doing some other acting. But like I'm saying, the number one thing I would like to be is be a vessel for the homeless people. I wrote the screenplay, and everybody asks me that all the time, which is a good thing, but I do have the treatment wrote out so good and registered with the WGA. It's almost a whole script on there. Then I own the domain name to it, Captain Negro. If you go Google Captain Negro right now, it's already recognized by Google. You will see him come up in a little yellow and black outfit with a 1972 Eldorado and everything. Yeah, so he's about to come out, man. He's got yellow and black, and he's got an N on his shirt, and he's got an Eldorado in the back. And I would love for somebody like Kevin Hart to play Captain Negro, Regina King to play like the woman in South Central. She's going to be a gum-popping South Central woman. He dates Captain Negro after he comes out of the coma, man. But it's just something that somebody that any executive that if they were to sit down at a table and I could really just break this down to them, they'd be like, you know what, I want that. And like I said, I own the rights to it, the domain name. I even got a song for it and everything.
Do you have other ideas in your head for other movies as well? Because a lot of times when a screenwriter has a movie and it's a hit, they always say, what else you got? Do you have other things as well in your mind?
Actually, I'm actually working on another documentary right now. Can I talk to you about that a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, definitely. So this is your show.
All right. It's called Skid Row Journey Political. Okay, so the first documentary I ever did was called Skid Row Journey, and it was an underground documentary down on Skid Row. So this one is going to be called Skid Row Journey Political. It's a 30-minute docuseries featuring guests who are experiencing homelessness or either working with the homeless population as they challenge politicians and those in power to make a change in the homeless communities all across the country. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is going like down to Skid Row and talking to people like how they got into the situation they are in, and basically of how politicians, what they can do to leave some type of mark in the homeless community. Now, myself, when I get up there and talk, I'm going to be calling out people like Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, and Kamala Harris, for them to build their campaign from Skid Row, Los Angeles to the world. The Democrats never help the poorest of the poor. They never talk about what they're going to do for homelessness. Nobody does. So I'm challenging people right now, anybody that can hear this, whether it's somebody's PR person or whatever, they need to build their campaign based upon the lowest people in the world, which are the people down on Skid Row, Los Angeles. That's what the documentary is going to be about, basically.
How did you get off the drugs?
I just kept praying. I just kept believing that one day I could get off of it. I just knew that my drug addiction was temporary. I just knew that. And I would wake up every morning and I would say it. So I just asked God to take it out of my mouth. It was not easy. It was like, God was like saying, you're going to really, really, really prove this. It's not going to be no overnight thing. You're going to really prove that you want that. And I just, over the time, the desire just went away.
How long did that take? I mean, even if you're just a pot smoker, it takes a while for that to get out of your system. How long did it take for you not to have that urge? Or you're like, I have to have a taste?
Wow. When I first quit, I would still have I wouldn't call them dreams because they would be like nightmares, and it would be like I was really getting high, but I couldn't feel the highness. So I would just be feeling like that would be the devil would be like, well, wow, you know what you could do to really get that high? I mean, you had the dream of it. Just go and just get the real thing, So I went through that stage, and it was a whole bunch of different stages of just staying strong and just knowing that that's not the right thing. And then, here's another thing. When I tell people that they laugh, I do it as a computer. You know how you can, if a computer gets messed up, it can come on and ask you, do you want to reboot this computer back to an earlier date? Yeah, that's how I did my mind. I rebooted my mind back to an earlier date before I started getting high. What was I doing then? I was watching the Brady Bunch, Bonanza, a Gunsmoke and stuff. So I sit up and I watch all those kind of shows now. It reminds me of, dang, I was happy watching the Brady Bunch without crack and stuff like that. So how come I can't be happy watching it now without?
Let me ask you a question. So let's say all the drugs are out of your system and now you're waking up and it's been, months and months and months and months. Is being straight and clean, isn't it almost like a whole new high?
It is a whole new high. It's like unbelievable. It's like you're getting a high all day long without paying for it. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, it's like you're getting high all day long without paying for it, without looking stupid, without the people seeing you running in and out of your apartment. I'm running in and out of the building every 10 minutes to get a bag of potato chips. That doesn't look right. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to do that no more. You can change your clothes now. It's just so much. I could just name stuff, the blessings of not getting high. And the more you do it, the more your body gets used to it. And so then and then you know what I think about now, Johnny? I be thinking about, how do people even afford getting high now? Because
I know. Especially like if you're doing cocaine, you're only high for 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and you got to do more and more and more and more.
And the dope man just sitting there laughing at you, waiting on you to come back, and you're just getting broker and broker.
He's getting richer and richer, huh?
And he's getting richer and richer.
There was a quote that I saw in one of your things, something your grandma said about Dawn. Can you talk about that? What's that quote?
Oh, wow, you did a lot of research on me then, brother, didn't you?
Yeah.
My grandmother, I'm going to make sure you're not the FBI or something like that. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
My grandmother used to say the darkest hour is just before dawn. Because I used to come to her, especially when I was getting high, I would come to her and be like, well, I'm just ready to give up because I'm just a crackhead and this is nothing going to never work for me, whoop, 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 and it's time to throw the towel in. And she'll be saying, look, the darkest hour just before dawn. That means that you have been through it all. You're at the end of the tunnel right now. You're about ready to throw it in. And so I always would remember that. And it's like,
okay.
Yeah. So, like, that's a message to anybody else. Like, right when you're thinking you're getting ready to give up, that means you have made it. You have made it. Like when somebody says you're going through something, through means movement. And then when they call you and say, hey, look, I'm stuck in something, then that's a whole different thing. But if somebody calls you and say, Johnny, I'm going through something, you just tell them, well, hey, just keep moving because you're doing it right through. You're going through it.
My dad was like that. He was, he's not with us anymore, but I used to spend hours on the phone. Sometimes I had no idea what he was saying, but I just loved being on the phone with him. And he was the one who always just said, you're almost there, son. You can do it. I love you. I'm proud of you.
Wow.
And that, just those words right there just meant so much to me.
Right.
Because after he passed away, I didn't get that from my mom. She wasn't she never gave me that attaboy.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. So, and I still keep it. Every day I always look up and I always just say, "Hey, pop," and he's still with me every single day.
Every day he's with you. As to remind you that'll never leave you.
So another question I had for you, now that you had gotten, off the drugs, did you counsel other people into maybe helping getting them off drugs or out of homelessness or something like that?
I do. I talk to like mothers who have sons that are experiencing addiction with drugs and stuff like that, but it's a hard business. It's a real hard sale because, number one, people don't want to admit they have a problem. Now, their mother might admit to it, you know what I'm saying, because they're open up because they know me or they know my story. But the child is like, well, why'd you even tell him something like that or whatever? But I used to do motivational speeches in Washington State, and I used to have those kids crying, hugging their mothers and telling their parents that they were sorry for the things they've done and things of that nature. But I do want to get back off into that, like, one-on-one coaching, but I haven't been doing that lately.
Right. But sometimes someone's going through life. They just need to hear that from one person to make a difference. Right. They just need to hear it from, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Right. And I do that all the time when I'm around homeless people or people that are on drugs. Like, hey, look, you can beat this. You don't have to sleep down here. You can do this. You can do that. So I'm always motivating, like, look at me. If I made it to this level, you can too.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to wrap this up here. So I'm just going to give you, whatever you want to say in the next 3 to 5 minutes. You want to promote anything? You want to say anything? Go ahead. It's all yours.
No. Well, we basically covered everything. I just want to make sure that people check out the book, Erythropoietin, Moseley from the Ground Up on Amazon. You could Google that. The documentary got coming out. It's called Skid Row Journey Political, which is going to be a docu-series that's going to be airing on different little public access channels. And the last thing I would just like to say is just seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all shall be added.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Eric, thank you so much for being my guest. It was inspirational to me. You know, you brought some things out of me that I hadn't thought about in a while as well. So obviously you're a force to be reckoned with, and I wish you all the best.
All right. And I wish you the best too, man. And I'm glad that you chose me to be on this segment.
Thank you. You have a good day. You have a blessed day.
All right, Johnny Keatth, you too, man. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. So that was Eric Moseley, guys. It was a very interesting interview. It wasn't so much about casting Frontier or LA casting or getting your headshots, but I think that it's something important. And basically what it is it was about a struggle. You're an actor, you're here in Los Angeles, and you're struggling, and you're out there, you're trying to make it. You're driving Uber, you know, hopefully you're not living in your car. I lived in my car before. I used to be homeless, you know, myself, but at least I had a car to live in. It was actually it was a little truck. I remember one time, I'll share the story with you. I went to, they used to have mud wrestling. It was called the Tropicana. And I just went, well, you know what? I'm going to go check out the mud wrestling. So I drove up into the parking lot. I was living in my car at the time. And I wasn't dressed well enough to go in there and watch mud wrestling. A little embarrassing. So I went back to my car, and at that time they had me all blocked in. I couldn't go. There was a car in front of me, beside me, and back of me, and believe it or not, it was freezing in LA. I didn't have a blanket. I had everything I owned just in that little truck. So I went to the newspaper stand, and it was Saturday night that night, so all the Sunday papers were in there. So I paid, and I opened it, and I just took all the Sunday papers. Not the most honest thing to do, but I took all the Sunday papers, and I went in my car, and I wrapped myself all up inside those Sunday papers, all of them, you know, and that was how I stayed warm, and that's how I got through the night. And then I woke up about, 4 a.m. and I looked around, everybody had gone, and not that I had anywhere to go, but so I just want to tell you that even if you're homeless, even if you're living in your car, maybe you're staying at a friend's house, because I know it's so expensive here in LA, just like Eric's story, just like my story, no matter it's not matter, where you came from, it's kind of where you're at now and where you are going. Because every time I bring an actor on this show, I ask them, what made you get into the business? What have you done? And where are you at right now? And also, where are you going? So where are you going? I hope Eric's story inspired you to, get up off your butt and do something every single day. He would leave the homeless shelter, and he would go to the library, and he would type 500 words a day. And then he made it into this book. I know how hard it is to get something on Amazon. I have a book on there. My wife has a book on there. We're not here to promote that. That's why I'm so impressed that he has that book on there. And he figured it out. And if he can figure it out in life and move forward in life, you can figure it out too. All right, so that wraps up this episode of Actors 2020 podcast, where my guest star was Eric Moseley. And Eric, if you're listening, thank you so much for your words. I feel you right here, brother, from another mother. All right, Eric, thank you so much for your insight. We got off topic on a lot of subjects. We started talking about politics and health insurance, so we had to cut all that stuff out. So be sure to go online and Google Eric Protein Moseley, Moseley. You'll see the first 2 pages of Google all about him. Click on the link to go to his Amazon page. You'll see his book, From the Ground Up. Purchase it. Give him a 5-star review. Let's bring him up even farther in life. You can also Google Captain Negro and find out more about that project. But the message is, no matter where you're at in life, if you're at the bottom or even below the bottom, you can get to the middle, you can get to the top. Eric is the man. So I appreciate you listening to all my podcasts. You remember the first interview with Celine Silver? She was born in Paris, France. She's bilingual. She speaks French, English, a little Spanish. She's played a lead in a lot of movies. She's out there getting work without an agent. Then the second interview was Nate Adamski. He's a stand-up comic. He was in New York, came back to LA. If you're just getting off the bus and you want to be a comic, you might want to listen to that interview. And now you just heard Eric Moseley. Wow, that was such a great interview. And coming up next is Felipe Dos Santos. He's an actor. He's originally from Brazil. He's been acting since he was 9 years old. He speaks English. He speaks Portuguese. He speaks Spanish. He moved to the States pursuing his dream. He's out here just doing it. He's working for a living, doing landscaping. His interview's coming up next. Can't wait. So tune in for that one. And all these interviews are on actors2020podcast.com. They're also on iTunes. They're also on Google Play. They're also on Spotify. They're also on Stitcher. If you're an actor, musician, comic, filmmaker, you want to promote yourself, give me an email to actors2020podcast@gmail.com. Send me a link to your profile. Send me a link to your Instagram, your Facebook, your actual website. I would love, absolutely adore to have you on my show and to promote you. So thank you to all who have submitted. We will get to you. So I appreciate all you listeners out there who've been listening in, who've been downloading our episodes. We're moving up in the rankings. We're getting higher and higher and higher every single week. I appreciate it. And I'm going to continue to bring you great content with great actors who are here in LA just trying to make it. But you don't have to live here in Los Angeles. You may be an actor in Canada. You may be an actor in Atlanta or New York or anywhere in the United States. I can call you up right here from my home studio and interview you, and you too could also be on the show. You do not have to live in Los Angeles. And I'm here to help promote you, to get you to where you're going, to give you a voice so a casting agent or a director might hear you, just remember you, and give you a part. And that's what it's all about. It's just another day in LA. Now it is time for, you know what, the lesson. Listen to the words. Bye-bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Actors 2020 Podcast. I'm Johnny Keatth, your host, where we promote one actor at a time. If you're an actor and you would love to be promoted, just contact us at actors2020podcast@gmail.com. Now we're going to end this episode like we end every episode with something called The Lesson. Because life is a bitch. Gee, really? Why don't you tell me something I don't already know? Cause everywhere I go, people tell me what to do. Hey, go to church, go to school, you treat me like a fool. Now, I don't need religion, culture, class. You don't like that fact? Well, you can kiss my ass. Yeah, I'm white and I rap. You got a problem with that? Loosen up. And don't be so uptight, take it easy, E. We got the whole night, yes, I'm psyched. I'm ready to get the show on the road. I don't want to stop, cause I just might explode. I'll tell you what, home slice, I'm twice as nice than any bad boy rapper called Vanilla Ice. My lesson, yeah, it's hip. In case you didn't know what I'm here to inform you, I'm better than snow. I don't moonwalk or dunk like these Michael J's, but I can hold my own. You hear what I say? Now listen, learn, cause here comes the lesson. Lesson 1. Everybody sit down. JK is gonna take you for a ride uptown. Yo, this is the story of the Hollywood game. Choose your path careful, you're the only one to blame. Now when it comes to pot, crack, tweak, or blow, stick to the rules and just say no. Because you're young, you're eager, you want in the movies. Don't think you'll get there by giving up the booty. Cause they'll use you, abuse you, throw you out like trash. And then you'll discover that you're out of cash. Now your heart, your soul is somewhere on the shelf. And you're walking through the streets now talking to yourself. The lesson. Well, you heard lesson 1, it's time for lesson 2. You have a choice and the choice is up to you. I came to Hollywood to be a rich and famous star, but for now I'm waiting tables and I'm tending someone's bar. Pictures, classes, ages, where the hell does it all end? Every time I turn around, I'm starting over again. I finally got a break with a 5 line and under. My life was starting to roar like lightning and thunder. The phone rings, hello? I'm cast in a pilot. My life's been out of control just like an LA riot. I walked off the set, said to hell with this, all man. The phone's not even ringing and my life is in the can. The lesson. Yeah, final final lesson here, of course it's number 3. Now remember, I'm an actor to be or not to be. When the going got tough, I climbed into the bottle. I'm back on my feet now, revving my throttle on the climb to the top. It's the same old games. Now I'm kicking ass and I'm taking some names. Clawing, scraping, screaming, that was a long, hard crawl. But it was all worth it, I'm a box off the straw. Opportunity was there when I took it with a punch. Not now, baby, but let's do lunch. There's a big piece of pie and you should grab your portion. You can be like me, enjoying fame and fortune. Boom! That's the lesson. Go and learn it. It's the lesson. Go and learn it. It's the lesson. Peace out.